Hello guys, welcome back to the channel where it is, as you can tell, a Pittsburgh Steelers Friday. And today we are going to be previewing their game this upcoming Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time kickoff against the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Steelers coming in at 4-2, coming off their victory last week, and the Jaguars are at 5-2, coming off their Thursday night victory against the New Orleans Saints. So obviously a couple of extra days of rest for them, but let's hope it doesn't play too big of an impact. In fact, speaking of that and speaking of rest and injuries, let's go through, as we like to do, to start off with the injury report. And we will start with the Jacksonville Jaguars, where they have a number of players questionable, including Tyson Campbell, Andre Cisco, Walker Little and Brandon Scherf are all questionable. Zay Jones is out. Gregory Jr. is out. And the most important one to note about is that quarterback Trevor Lawrence is questionable, which is in one way a good thing, because it means that he can be gone. Maybe he'll be limited in the passing game and whatever, and can be, restrained to some extent. However, bad in the sense that now it might mean they lean more towards the run game, which means to give the ball to Travis Etienne. And when you consider the Steelers have given up 4.7 yards an attempt this season, which ranks it very well down the bottom, towards the bottom of the NFL, that kind of gives you a little bit of worry that we might be in for a bit of a long day with them running the ball on us. I'm not saying maybe not quite Dalvin Cook as he did on us a couple of years ago when he was with the Vikings, but certainly could be in for a long day. But on the flip side, on the Steelers side, let's go with us. Joey Porter Jr. is questionable. In fact, they're all three cornerbacks. Funny how you can get these all in one room. Joey Porter Jr. is questionable. Levi Wallace is questionable. James Pierre is questionable. Cam Hayward was actually, we'll come back to Cam. TJ was a limited participant with a heel injury, but that's probably just going to be a bit of a precaution, so don't read anything into that. Same as Deontay Johnson was limited, but don't read anything into that. He was saying that was rest. One thing to note, that Cam Hayward was a full participant, but do not read anything into that, because he said himself more work needs to be done before he gets back on the field. So even though he's a full participant, don't read that as he's going to be suiting up on Sunday. So yeah, that is the injury report. But just going back to touch on what I was saying about Trevor Lawrence, is, again, it's good because you might think that it will help us because, with these three cornerbacks in some level of injury, with some level of injury concern, then that might give us a little bit of an easier day. But as we said, the flip side is it then moves on to the running game, so we've got to hope for that. And I think that is really where it sort of goes on, because the running game has improved. I think on both sides of the ball, the running game has improved. And, I've said I didn't want to keep this simple, but over the past couple of weeks, the simple things have improved. So I think that's probably a good place. That's probably a good place to start, is that, again, it probably won't be a major concern moving forward if we can just keep this continual progression moving. And again, on the subject of continual progression moving, I think that is what has sort of annoyed a lot of Pittsburgh Steelers fans, is that we're having to win these games late. I'm sure you've seen the stats that, Kenny Pickett, his quarterback rating goes from, it's in the 40s in the first quarter, 70s in the second quarter, in the 90s in the third, and then it's in the hundreds in the fourth. But as I've said, I don't want us to be in these games constantly late. I do think we're going to be in one of those games this weekend, because it's a very, very close, looking like a very close matchup. And as someone was pointing out, if the playoffs ended today or started today, it would be the Steelers going down to Jacksonville in the first round. So that clearly shows you what level of status this game holds, and what the two teams hold, that they are both been very good so far this season. But again, if we can make these progressions, and I don't want it to always be a fourth quarter thing. I believe I did say this last week, is that I don't want to be in close games late. I want to be able to be up by 20 points at the start of the fourth quarter, and then with 10 minutes to go, you can afford to take a few players out on both sides of the ball. So we have seen progression. I just hope that we see more progression early in games. What we've done late in games, go back to the Ravens game, go back to the Rams game, fine. The fourth quarter is fine. I think we've established that. I just want to see, again, more progression in the early parts of the game. And if that does mean that it takes away some of what gets done in the fourth quarter, again, if Kenny Pickett drops a couple of points in the fourth but gains a bit in the first, I'd be fine with that, because, again, it just makes things a lot more smoother. I mean, for us as fans, not having to go through nail biters every single week, but also, again, just for the players and how, getting into a groove and being able to, establish points get points on the board early rather, so we can be, rather than, putting up, just a solitary field goal, we can maybe put up, 15 points or 16 points or whatever. 15 points would be 3-5 field goals, so we don't really want that, but it would do. But yeah, I think that's really what I'm looking for most this game is start to be more explosive in the early stages of the game, and just see if we can start to take control of games rather than being in close games or having to get things. I think that's what I want to see more is taking control and actually controlling the pace and the tempo and the level of intensity and everything of the game. I think if we can start to get that, and I think this might be a very good week to do it. Again, if Trevor Lawrence is questionable again, we could slow him down a bit. And again, if the running game on defense can again step up a bit, as they have done in previous weeks, if that can happen, then I think that'll be a good sign of progress. And I kind of want to go back to what I was saying in towards the first game of the season. About the San Francisco 49ers. This is a game where, again, I don't want us to lose. But if we lose in close fashion, but I can see the progress, I would take it. Obviously, I would rather a win. But if we can start showing steady progress, even if this has to be a shootout game, at least the offense can have that explosive step, then I think I would very much take that as a result. That being said, I don't think we are going to lose. I think we can probably sneak this. It probably will be a close game, but we can wish for a lot of things, but they're not going to all come out. So I will give my score prediction of a similar to last week, similar sort of vein. I'll go for a 24 to 17 victory for the Pittsburgh Steelers this week against the Jacksonville Jaguars, which will take us to 5-2, and given the state of the schedule ahead, should give us a little bit of confidence that we can, that we can make a playoff push and take a lot of confidence into it. So yeah, that's my preview. Let me guys know what you think down below. Of course, don't forget you can like, you can subscribe. I put the links down in the description. I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, and then obviously the WordPress with the daily article Monday to Friday. So yeah, that's really it. Let me guys know what you think, and take care, and let's go Steelers.